It's Chookman here once again. So I've got lots of stories, lots of interesting stories to tell you people, and it's only to tell you people to inspire other people on in life so they can get something out of it. I'm a living, proven example of a good human being. I haven't got tickets on myself, but I've hit hard times, and I've experienced a lot of horrible things in my life growing up, from a young boy into a man. I've got lots of interesting stories I can tell you, and as you all know, I've got acquired brain injury. I was born with a disability, but I still give life a fair go. I fight for my rights, and so I should. But you know what? I'm one of the lucky ones. I've had pretty bad, sad accidents and assaults that have happened to me, but they're in stories to come. I'm very lucky to be alive today. I don't take anything for granted, and I apologise to anyone that I've upset in the past. But I always say what I did yesterday doesn't matter, it's what I do today that counts. So you've heard one sad story, I'm going to talk about another one. It's not easy for me because it just triggers off bad memories, but I like to tell my stories because someone might be hitting hard times and they might take something out of my story that might help them on their journey on life. Because you know what? While we're on this journey, we get from the day we're born to about roughly, don't quote me on this, roughly to about 80 to get our life into order and get everything done. That means get married, have kids, and it doesn't always go in that way, you know what I mean? This is the way I seen it. You know, you got 80 years to get it right. So if you fail, don't worry about failing. Try again and again and again and again until you get it right. If you've got drug problems, go and get help. Go to rehab and get help. Get people, to professional people, to work that side of it out, and then you'll find your way eventually. If you've got alcohol problems like myself, I'm an ex-alco. I'm proud to say that I've been clean for over 11 years or thereabouts. I'm not exact on that, but it's been a hell of a long time since I drank. That's another story in itself, how I got pancreatitis. A lot of people don't understand what pancreatitis is. That's another story in itself, how I copped brain injuries, multiple brain injuries as I was growing up, going from one place to another place to another place. So I have got a lot of interesting stories, and I'll just tell when I'm feeling right and when I want to talk about my stories and share my stories with everyone else in YouTube land. I hopefully, inspire other people that have hit hard times. So we're going to be talking about my natural mother, because a lot of followers have said, yeah, but what about your natural mother? Well, it's a pretty sad story in itself, but, lucky I'm hard on the outside, you know what I mean? But I still got a big heart, and I still hurt, and I still cry, and I still go through whole different emotions. For all you people that don't know what critical PTSD is, look it up. Ask someone, go somewhere, put it on the computer, look it up, and that'll explain to you a little bit about critical PTSD. Mine's through trauma, as you've all gathered. I've been through lots of trauma, and it hasn't been a road. It hasn't been an easy road. But life is what you make of it. You want bananas, you'll get bananas. You want apples, you'll get apples. I don't know any other way of saying it. So I'm going to be talking about my natural mother that gave birth to me. I don't know a hell of a lot about her, but I'll fill in the gaps on some of it, and it's just a small story on my natural mother. She gave birth to me in Paddington, New South Wales. Now that's near King's Cross somewhere. I was born in 1969 to a lady. Her name was, doesn't matter what her name was, just say that lady, which was my natural mother. She gave birth to me. She gave birth to me in Paddington, New South Wales. She brought me while I was a 2-month-old baby to Shepparton. Shepparton's a country town where they do fruit picking. It's up towards Seymour and up that way, up the Hume Highway. Look it up if you don't know where Shep is. It's a well-known country town. It's pretty big. There's thousands of people that live there. So she brought me to Shepparton when I was a 2-month-old baby. She was a drinker. I'd say I'd gather she was a smoker as well, and whatever else she was taking. I don't know because I didn't get that part of the report, but I have got some knowledge of her. She was a knockabout lady. She was 30, I think 36 or 37 when she died. She died of breast cancer. She's buried in Shepparton, the Shepparton grave. I went and seen her gravesite just to see if I could feel any emotions or anything that was going on there. She's not here today for me to judge. What I mean by that is she's not here to sit down and say, right, you tell me your side of the story and I'll tell you my side of the story, how I feel neglected and unwanted and how you just chucked me away, because that's how I felt. The Shepparton police told her on many occasions that she got caught leaving me in boxes with no clothes, just a nappy and marks all over my body. I was a 2-month-old baby. The police in Shepparton back in the day told her to smarten her act up, or otherwise she'll lose the baby, which was me when I was 2-month-old. She got told many a time she wasn't listening, and then they couldn't find me. She disappeared for a while. Christ knows where she went or who she was hanging around with. So she come back to Shepparton again, and she handed me into the Shepparton police. This story's all been documented in my folder. It's about this big. It's a folder you get when you come out of the orphanage, and when you're awarded the state, the government gives you this folder. So that's that part of it. I got shipped off to a orphanage in the city in Melbourne. This orphanage is not open anymore, but it's still there. It's right next to Tarana's boys' home. The reports I got in the folder weren't good. It was all sad stuff. It was all to do with abuse, how she didn't look after this 2-month-old baby. To cut a long story short, she wasn't mentally stable enough to be having kids at this time. This is the way I see it. It was sad. How can one woman bring a baby into the world and not love it? I understand she wasn't mentally well at the time. How she could let abuse happen to me. We won't go into that because it's all sad and you don't really need to know the ins and outs of a duck's ass. That's the way I see it. I know the story and I can work out what's true and what's not true. And it's just shocking what I had to go through. So that's that in a nutshell. I ended up in the orphanage, and I was put in the orphanage at 2-month-old baby, and I stayed right up until the orphanage until I was 2 years old. So that's the story right up until I get to the orphanage. I was in the orphanage at 2-month-old baby right up till 2, and I'll fill in the gaps on how I was fostered out and adopted on the orphanage side. I'm so sorry if you're not following my story, but it's an interesting story, and I think it's not a story that you hear all the time. So that's why I'm just telling my story now, and I'm lucky to be alive today. That's why I'm telling my story. Alright guys, as I always say, keep out of the sun, be kind to yourself, and try to have a nice day.